Hello everyone and welcome to a video that is not in my car. Anyway, there's an election coming up, don't know if you heard, it's next Tuesday here in America. And you guys seem to enjoy the last two political videos that I've made, and I got a lot more to say on things, even though I hate getting into politics, but I like talking about politics, if that makes any sense. I don't know. Anyway, you guys have, I saw some tremendous debate in the comments of my past two videos, and people that are interested here in my thoughts, things. So why not? I'm going to make a couple more political videos here leading up to the election here. So today we're going to be talking about third-party voting here in America. Now, there is a general consensus, a general consensus on third-party voting here in America. One side is you're wasting your vote. That third-party candidate doesn't stand a shot in hell in winning. Why don't you just vote for one of the two guys on top? Because all you're doing is you're wasting your vote and giving it to someone who doesn't stand a long shot in hell of winning. To the other side of the coin here, people saying like, well, no, I am not wasting my vote. I am voting for either someone who I believe in more, that I do not like the top two candidates, so I'm voting for someone who I believe in more, or simply, I just do not want to show that the system that is basically built to just have two candidates is an okay system. I would argue it is the wrong thing to do to vote for a system that only supports two candidates. And that's what you do when you vote Republican or Democrat. You're voting to support a system that suppresses all third-party existence. So, or you're just sending a message. You just want to send a message that those two guys aren't good enough, etc., everything that falls along that line of the spectrum. So there is valid points to be made on either side, because the two-party system is so entrenched here in America that the viability of a third-party candidate rising up and actually standing a chance in hell, I understand you out there. Like, I understand that the people that want to say that it is a wasteful vote, because I'll tell you with a straight, honest face that no, I don't think a third-party candidate ever stands a shot in hell in winning unless there's a complete revamping of the system. But I want to get into that a little more tomorrow, because tomorrow I want to make a video talking about the two-party system and the Electoral College. I'm going to save that for tomorrow, so I don't want to get too deep into that end of things here now. So I understand the people that feel the vote is wasteful, and I understand the people that say that simply I want to vote on who I either believe in more, or that I don't believe in those two candidates with the R and the D next to their names. And I want to send that message that my vote isn't that easy to get. So there's two clear divided sides, divide as much as Republican and Democrats, if you will. Now, I want to go back in time here to 2002. All right. You had the election of Gore versus Bush. Now, I said yesterday that I voted for Ralph Nader in that election. I voted third party. One of the main reasons I voted third party is I was voting in the state of Maryland, the state where I was in college at the time. And I voted third party, and specifically for Ralph Nader, because I saw Ralph Nader as one of the most viable third-party candidates that I had seen in my lifetime, next to Ross Perot, until we saw who his VP candidate was, and we won't get into that. I saw Ralph Nader as the most viable third-party candidate in my lifetime, and I wanted to strengthen his presence. I wanted people to see in both the Republican and Democratic Party that there's people willing to support this guy. Now, the state that I was voting in, like I said, was the state of Maryland. Maryland was all but confirmed blue. I mean, it was a very blue state. It was going for Gore. And unless people like me, all of a sudden, a million of us changed our mind on election day and said, yeah, I want to send my vote to Ralph Nader instead. Gore was winning Maryland. So I mention, people changing their minds there, because studies have shown, I don't have any numbers off the top of my head, but I do remember, and because I was in college at the time, I was a political science major, and I remember some of the studies that came out afterwards that people that voted for Ralph Nader would have voted for Gore had Nader not been in the election. And that is kind of damning to the campaign of Al Gore, because it was such a close race, and Gore only needed a state or two, based on which two states you want to flip, to go in his favor. And I do feel in my heart of hearts that Ralph Nader, quote unquote, spoiled that election. I honestly do. I honestly do. And that is the whole thing of, like, do you see that vote as wasteful? All the people that want to say a third party vote is a waste of time? Because I feel the Ralph Nader voters in totality helped spoil that election and gave it to George W. And I said myself that, I didn't choose to vote for Gore. Instead, I went to vote for a third party candidate in Nader, because given the choice between Gore and Bush, I would have chose Gore over Bush. And a lot of other people that voted for Nader said the same. So it is interesting to think that, Ralph Nader spoiled that election. Again, this is all hypothetical and all looking back in hindsight, and whatever people can argue, say, oh, no, Bush would have won anyway. Fine. But the point being is, there was a lot of people that said after that election they would have voted for Gore, be given the choice down to Gore and Bush, but they voted for Nader instead. Anyways, just food for thought. Now, jump ahead to 2016. I said that I voted for the third party in that election as well. But the pretense on which I voted third party this time was not that I wanted to strengthen any one candidate, but I wanted to simply up the number of people voting for third party, up the number, the tally that is shown of people voting in third party. This time I was voting in what is now my current home state of Pennsylvania. And in that election, Donald Trump won the popular vote over Hillary Clinton by 44,000 votes. Now, obviously, my one vote wasn't the deciding factor in that election. However, the total number of people that did not vote for Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump and voted or either abstained from voting, which I don't know why you wouldn't just pick someone, the total number of people that voted third parties or just didn't put down a candidate, I guess you forgot to hit the button in the booth. Anyway, was 269,000 people in Pennsylvania did not vote for Trump, did not vote for Clinton. Jill Stein alone got 49,000 votes in Pennsylvania. Her vote amount alone was more than the difference of 44,000 votes that separated Trump and Hillary Clinton. So think about that, people that want to say voting for a third-party candidate is a waste of a vote. So definitely, you could say the election was spoiled in Pennsylvania alone, not going to Hillary and going to Trump, because that would have been enough to swing the election right there. Like Hillary getting it and Trump not, and who knows if you get another state like Ohio, etc., that was close as well. Anyways, point being, sticking with Pennsylvania, I wanted to raise that total number of people that didn't want to pick these two vile candidates. I saw both of them as vile. Couldn't put my stamp of approval on either of them. Given the choice, I would like what Hillary would have done from a more progressive end of things, which I went full into my video yesterday. I don't want to revamp all those points again. But I wanted to raise the number because I wanted numbers around the country of third-party voting in every state to be sky high, to show and send a message that no, neither of the parties did things good enough. You have to earn the right of people to earn the vote of people like me that aren't just going to say, oh, I'll just pick the lesser of two evils, fine. And I wanted the parties to look at this and say, we got to do a better job of putting a candidate that is at least more likely than the candidates in the last election, because I want those numbers to skyrocket in third-party voting. Because I'm sorry, compared to Obama and Romney, putting Trump and Clinton against each other, no, people shouldn't be just content with selecting the lesser of two evils. They should be disgusted that this is what the two parties and that the people voting in the preliminary elections up to this point rendered us with. That is why I voted third party. It wasn't just to strengthen one candidate. It was to send the message that this is disgusting, that the system has created these two candidates for us to pick from. And no, I am not going to pick the lesser of two evils. I'm sorry. And I wanted the parties to see this and say, we got to do a better job. So what did the Democratic Party do? They gave us Biden and Harris. All those third-party votes in just Pennsylvania alone, 269,000 people said that they're not willing to vote for Trump or Clinton. And you come back with it's like I'm not faulting the Republican Party because obviously their incumbent is the incumbent, so it's not like you had much of a choice there. That the Democratic Party comes back with Biden and Harris. I mean, it's only arguable that that's better than the Clinton campaign 4 years ago. What do you think I'm going to do in this election, guys? Anyway. Or do I have a curveball up my sleeve? Find out who I voted for next week. Like seeing this and seeing Biden be the candidate, I'm just like, what a waste of time it was trying to inflate the number of third-party votes. Like that's how I felt when it ended up being Biden and Harris. I'm like, man, 269,000 of us just in Pennsylvania alone got together, said we're not going to vote for the top two candidates. And it's not like there was even that strong of a third-party candidate out there. 269,000 of us got together, and the Democratic Party is like, here you go. Have a little Biden and Harris for your dinner. I digress. The system is what it is. And why was I to expect any better? So, that's my synopsis of third-party voting in a nutshell here. I don't feel it's a waste of time. I understand why people feel it can be a waste of time because, like I said, I could tell you, with a straight honest face that I don't feel a third-party candidate is ever going to win unless the system is completely revamped. And again, I'm going to get into things a bit more tomorrow when I talk about the Electoral College and the two-party system here in America. So, what are your thoughts on third-party voting? Where do you stand on it? Do you feel it honestly has spoiled elections? Because again, I'm just giving you my 2 cents on this. I'm not saying you out there have to say that it isn't a waste of time, that it is a waste of time, that you feel Ralph Nader spoiled the election just because I felt he spoiled the election in 2002 and that, potentially spoiled the election for Hillary Clinton because Pennsylvania didn't go to her and that was a very key state. Anyway, what are your thoughts? It's your turn to talk now. My time to talk is done. That is all.